our apple tart, it's going to be just like you would make an apple pie, but we're going to make a tart out of it where the apples are going to be open and showing. Now, the most important part for this tart is you need apples that are the same size because of the width that we're going to use instead of a traditional just dumping the apples in the apple pie. Now, I'm using the Granny Smith because they do give a really nice, tender, sweet apple. I'm using an apple core machine. If you don't have one, I'll link one down, how to buy one on Amazon.com. This is an old-fashioned one. I've had it for more than 20 years, but they've kind of made it a little bit more improved. I'll link that down. Otherwise, you just need to core and peel your apples and slice them just like a traditional apple pie. I'm going to use some cinnamon sugar. If you want to add nutmeg, you can, but I'm not going to, but you can. And some flour to thicken our sauce in our tart, and then you're going to need a rolling pin. You do need pie crust, so you're either going to make it using my recipe that I have on my playlist, or you can just buy pie crust in the refrigerated section, either way. And we're ready to get started. Most apple machines are just the same. Mine just happens to have the wood block, but the new improved ones has kind of a metal, and then you can actually suction it to your countertop, which is nice. This one I have to hold down. But what you do is you just press in and pull out the prongy thing. I don't even know what these are called. Then you're going to put your apple in, and this is a big apple. Then you're going to push that in again and push it forward. And then on mine, you have to hold down. See if I can do this. There we go. And it just goes around. And it not only peels it, but it actually slices it and cores it. How's that? You could do a lot of apple pies with this. Now this apple is really large and heavy, so it's not going around as fast as normal when I have smaller Granny Smith apples. But Granny Smith are a thicker apple, so you might have to turn it a little bit more. Then you wait for that click sound. That means it's done. Peel it off, and then you're just going to take the tops off right here. You can feed those to your kiddos or have a snack for yourself. And then you just take a cutting board, and then whatever you're using, I'm just doing slices, and there you have all your slices that you need for your pie tart. Now, what my grandmother used to do was she used to take these and she used to fry them in oil and then sprinkle them with cinnamon sugar. Oh my goodness, actually butter and oil together, and it makes what she called apple fries, the traditional apple fries. Now I always keep a paper towel next to me to pull it off, and then you're ready for your next apple. As you can see, all my apples are sliced. I'm just going to spread them apart just slightly. I don't want to break them because that's kind of the nice thing about this tart, is it's going to look all uniform like a pattern. So I'm just going to separate them just slightly, just so that all the sugar and the flour gets mixed in. Now some people use cornstarch to thicken their apple pie from the water that bleeds out when the apples are cooking, but I kind of don't like the taste of that, so I do use flour. So go ahead and sprinkle a little bit of cinnamon sugar. I've mixed cinnamon and sugar, 3 parts to 1 part of sugar and cinnamon. So 3/4 of a cup of sugar, and then well actually not even 1/4 of a cup, probably about 1/8 of a cup of cinnamon. Now the one nice thing about this tart is you can actually add like raisins or dried cranberries, pecans, walnuts. It'll just make it look really pretty. So you can see I'm just tossing the apples, but I'm not letting them break up. Now I'm going to put a little bit of flour, not too much, just to thicken it while it bakes. Now while I get the pie crust ready, I'm going to preheat my oven. You always want to put baked items in a preheated oven, and this oven's hot. It's a 400-degree oven. So go ahead and preheat your oven while you're tossing your apples. Stick these apples in the refrigerator. I'm going to pull my pie crust that's been sitting in the refrigerator and show you how we're going to roll out the dough. So as you can see, I finished rolling out my dough, and unlike a pie crust dough where you want it like round, here I wanted it to be long. Now I've got my 1 apple as my guide, and using a knife or a pizza cutter, I'm going to give about 1 inch on each side because we're going to lay the side over. So it doesn't have to be perfect. This is not a perfect science. So go ahead and make 1 big long rectangle, and then you're going to fold this up very carefully. Oops. You don't want these things to get caught. This is where you need a knife. Where's my long knife? Let me go get it. Actually, I'll use a thing because it's going to stick. I don't want it to stick. Sticking is not good. Okay. All right, there. I think I got it. Don't worry about all this. This can patch up. All right, you're going to fold it up, and then you're going to lay it on your cookie sheet. Back out. I know you can't see this right now, but I'm going to show you in just a second. All right, then we're going to lay the apples on. Let me show you. Now, this is the fun part because you can actually now lay your apples. So you're just going to do it really tight. So you want to create this beautiful look all the way down so that when everybody gets a bite, this will serve probably 10 people because it's going to be pretty thick in apples. So you're just going to keep going down. It almost looks like, you know, like a deck of cards. All right, I'm going to finish this up and I'm going to show you how to bring up our sides. So as you can see, we have our accordion of our apples. I already folded up one side. You're basically just going to take up the sides, curl them up, and then using a fork, you're going to press in. Now I'm going to put this in the oven at 400 degrees for about 20 minutes. And then at 20 minutes, I'm going to make a foil tent that's going to have a hole cut right here, I'll show you, and then cover the crust so that the crust doesn't burn. And this is going to make a beautiful, beautiful apple tart. All right, let me stick these in the oven and we will see it when it gets out. Beautiful. Our apple tarts are out of the oven. I wanted to show you the tent that I make. I ended up making two. I had some leftover pie crust and some leftover apples of those 3 big apples. So what you do is about 20 minutes in, you make a tent with some foil so that it protects the crust from burning. So this is our crust and it turned out perfect. Now the way that you can tell the apples are done, because every oven varies, is you can take a knife and if you poke it in and it goes in very easily and there's no sound, then that crispness is out and now it's a perfectly baked apple. I'm glad I had enough to make another one because I'm giving this to a friend and this one we're gonna have for dessert tonight. Thank you for joining me today. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more how-tos, recipes, and of course decorating ideas. Thank you so much for joining us today.